What's up, everybody? Time is a flat circle, Artosis. We are back at WCG. For both of us, this is kind of where it all started. So it's crazy here in 2019. We're back. My first casting experience in, 2005 for WCG.
Yeah.
It's so cool to have this tournament revived.
Oh, my God. This is like unreal that we're actually here right now, and it's beautiful. They've done a great job here bringing WCG back. Xi'an is amazing. This whole venue, huge, beautiful. But yeah, this is like we would not be here if it were not for WCG. And not just because this is a WCG event and thus it wouldn't be here, so we wouldn't be here, but I mean like we wouldn't be here without it.
It's crazy. We were StarCraft 1 competitive professional players. I don't know if we can use the word professional, really. We barely made any money back in the day playing StarCraft 1. And this was the tournament that we would train for all year.
Mm-hmm.
And now here we are. We're casting StarCraft 2, of course, but we've finally gone full circle. WCG initially retired. Other tournaments sprung up. But now WCG is back, and there are a ton of games down here. There are more casters at this event than any esport event in history.
It seems that way for sure.
The scope, the ambition is insane. It's so cool to be down here.
And we'll definitely talk more about that coming up. But look, here's our StarCraft matches that we're going to be seeing right off the bat. Match 1 and 2 for StarCraft 2. Now, these basically what it is a bunch of non-professional players applied to play with their heroes from these different regions. They'll be playing in a 2-versus-2 tournament here today.
Right.
Where the winning team of the tournament, the pro gamer there, gets to choose who they play in the first round of the actual WCG championship. So it's actually a very meaningful set of 2-versus-2 matches. Tasis and I were down speaking to them a little bit. These are not super low-ranked players that are with the pros. Obviously, they are not professional gamers, but I'm looking forward to seeing some 2-versus-2 action. It's been a very long time since you or I have casted any 2-versus-2.
Yeah, 2v2 in StarCraft 2, quite different from the 2v2 we're used to in StarCraft 1. It's going to be a lot of fun to cast, though. And again, the festivity, the atmosphere down here, it's so cool that WCG is back. The vision of esports, they had it a long time ago. In a somewhat Olympic-esque model.
Yeah.
And it's so great to have all the different franchises coming together and doing something cool. And I got warm fuzzies. You know?
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
And look, I love the way that esports has been going for years and how professional everything's gotten. But this does have that Olympic feel. Like I wish you guys could see. There is just the longest row ever of casting desks, people from all over the world here casting various languages. It's truly feeling international. People walking around with their. We have this tournament zone behind us, which is just gigantic. You see just about every flag that you can imagine all over people's shirts playing for these various games. And it's just great that StarCraft 2 gets to be a part of this.
Yeah, well, StarCraft, really the game that started esports, right?
Mm-hmm.
WCG, originally a Korean company. They saw that it wasn't just with StarCraft, which was huge in the early, 1999, 2000.
Yeah.
But they said, wait a minute, we can get all the games here together. And that's what we have here now. Mm-hmm. And not just every game, but every mode as well. We're going to be going into a team play here, which I think doesn't get enough attention, to be frank, in StarCraft esports.
I've heard that StarCraft 2, 2-versus-2 has gotten a lot better over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really keep up with it personally. I'm very much a 1-versus-1 guy, but cool to see it given a little shot here. And it was kind of neat going down and meeting the fans that get to play with Rainer and Neeb, and we got to speak with them for a little bit. Everyone's kind of pumped, going to have a good time. And
it's cool to have all these guys down here and to see them competing. And this is going to be a fun several days here for WCG. And don't just tune in for our game. Check out all the games. If you got multiple monitors, open up the different streams and follow along here.
There's 4 different streams, I believe, which is like WCG_TZ3 will be the StarCraft stream, I think, for the whole tournament. But we will update you guys. Just check it out on Twitter. But there's TZ2, TZ1. I believe there's a main stream as well for the big stage. I see Chobra over there right now. I think he's casting some Dota for that.
Doto.
Yeah, a little bit of Doto going on. It's just I don't know. It's just it gives me such a warm feeling to be back here and like hear the theme song in the background. Beyond the game.
They're not letting go of that song, Artosis.
Why would they let
We've
go
gone
of
too far,
such a precious gem?
Yeah, no, it's so cool to see this all down here. It's not just this convention hall. There's multiple convention halls filling up all the games. We've got games from different eras, games on different platforms, a lot of cell phone games down here with the emerging gaming cell phone market as well. And it's crazy how competitive that whole scene is as well.
Yeah, there's quite a few of them. They're talking their e-gamer cell phone lingo, and I don't know what's going on, man.
Too old for us.
Yeah.
No, this is just it's such a blast that WCG is back. When I first heard this tournament was coming back, I almost couldn't believe it. I thought, oh my God, I thought that period was over. And I thought everything was going to be more segmented.
Yeah.
You know, you have certain publishers doing their things, and that can't interact with other publishers. But now, with everything coming together, I think it's really special.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we all are nerds that love training and learning puzzles and games. And
well, this is original esports is what we're looking at here, right? And WCG is actually one of the very oldest tournaments.
Not only is it the oldest, or among the oldest, it's the one that actually worked. It's the one that sold the idea, I think, the best.
Yeah, for the old days, absolutely. Like WCG, you know, the first big WCG tournament was in 2000, the World Cyber Games Challenge. And I remember just following that with the few, you know, there was like one or two humans that owned cameras that could upload photos onto the internet with the 14.4 connection. Yeah. Right? And just seeing the couple photos that came out of that one in America and be like, oh, this is so cool, right? And
so crazy.
Seeing it move forward, and then, of course, it went away for some years. Here it is being revived in 2019.
Not only that, the original WCGs were only audio casted. You had to listen to it like it was radio. I remember listening to DJ Wheat casting Quake before I was ever a caster and thinking, whoa, man, these guys sound good. This is pretty legit, right?
And, you know, back then, Quake was kind of the big pro game. Those guys actually won some prize money.
Especially in the West,
We'd win a tournament and get like a monitor or something, but they'd actually get a bit of prize money. So I remember going down to my first WCG events and be like, oh, whoa, it's like so great. So what's up, man? I've like listened to your stuff, seen your demos. Like, we've come such a long and strange way from there, haven't we?
It's crazy that esports has gotten this big this quickly. I mean, it's funny because some of you guys are probably a little bit younger than us, but I mean, this was about as niche as you could get, right? You're showing up to compete in a computer game. No, it was a different time, and we've talked about this, especially just in our time together. But I always knew that competitive gaming was cool and that it was fun to watch. I just never knew that everybody would catch on like they have now.
Yeah. Well, it shows they're pretty smart, I guess. Okay, I guess we are getting started right now.
All right.
With a 2 versus 2. Or no, this is a 1 versus 1 that we're actually going to start with. So we have Liv versus Stealthy. I saw Stealthy had the team tag Psystorm, so probably a pretty strong player here.
Right.
But yeah, a couple amateurs to start off. We are doing a little bit of 1 versus 1 here today as well.
So let's get this going here. We got a PBT. This is a fun matchup, a lot of different directions as far as openings can go. And I'm looking forward to unpacking this. Again, so cool to be back here. My very first cast ever was a WCG.
Yeah,
and,
that's right.
Back in 2005, I got to cast my brother, Day 9, winning the USA Championship, which was so cool.
Yeah, you're welcome.
That's right. He
stepped over my corpse to get there.
And then eventually
that's
fought Yosh in the finals.
Yeah.
No, this is a real treat to be down here. And it's so cool to see this coming back in full force.
No, it's great, man. Ooh, Stealthy puts the GG down where the command center goes.
Nice.
I would bury that with a command center, though. No one's ever going to see this again.
So we've got Stealthy with a little bit of blocking over here on that command center. And it looks like the first probe goes down. Small error there by Stealthy. You want to keep that alive for as long as possible.
Yeah, it was a Marine first as opposed to a Reaper. So I think he thought he had a bit of time there, but did not, and at least sees that there is no Reaper coming, which is actually a pretty helpful thing. He can do things like maybe not Chrono Boost out his Adept or send it directly across the map, things like that.
Right, right. And so, as the game goes on here, we have fairly passive openers from both sides, both of them going for a quick expand over here and trying to basically parlay this into a healthy mid-game. We've got the Robo going down now for Stealthy here.
Yeah, so maybe a defensive opener. We'll see. It'll take a little bit for these builds to come on through. But really cool that they give these kind of amateur players an opportunity to come over here to China, full expense-paid trip, come and play with some of their favorite players and do a little bit of competitive gaming.
I'm liking the atmosphere we've got down here. We are literally right behind the players area, so you can see all these different games being played competitively at once. And again, to have all these things coming together, where a lot of times esports is so segmented.
Yeah,
that's a real treat in of itself.
It's really cool to see everyone interact as well.
Yeah.
And like having the Warcraft 3 people here as well. Great Warcraft 3 casters like Todd and Rotterdam joining us down here.
Yeah, it's great to see them casting their game.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, no, I mean, Warcraft 3, definitely a big fixture in WCG. That might have been the big game, I guess, along with Counter-Strike. StarCraft started it all.
Yeah.
But Warcraft 3 especially
in China.
Especially in China, which we're here now. And China is sort of the big hotbed of, if esports continues to grow here, you could not be bigger.
Yeah, very, very cool in that regard.
There's a lot of people here, in case you didn't know.
It's true. So, just a 3-gate Robo here into Colossus Tech from Stealthy. Very safe play. Sending his observer over to scout exactly what's going on. Seems like it's just a 1-1-1 so far from Liv. So some pretty standard builds, and you can see that these are not your Bronze League heroes or anything like that. Playing a solid game against each other right now.
Right. No scan there to take that observer out. Looks like he might be coming up here to get that now. He does not. Forage here as well, indicating we're probably going to have, at least the Protoss is intending to have a longer game, going for upgrades.
Yeah, I think it's a very good way to do it. He's just making sure he makes enough units that there's really no way to kill him right now, right? But I think we will see probably a little push coming out of Liv as the siege tanks are being made, the medevac's coming out. So normally you want to send out your units, see what you can poke down, if anything.
We've got the Stalkers coming out here. They're going to be meeting the infantry army in just a little bit here. Now, Terran's got a sizable force. With the SCVs coming to this, that tells you that Terran's going to be committed to this attack. But really good kiting over here by Stealthy, actually pushing some of these Marines back.
Yeah, very, very true. It definitely needs those shots. Oh, I wish that Stealthy would have turned around on top of that ramp and gotten a few more volleys off. Probe's being pulled now. Definitely very scared. Getting some huge siege tank hits there as well.
Okay, we have the bunkers leapfrogging forward. Now, keep in mind, there's a lot of Protoss infrastructure in the front here, so taking out these forces is going to be much worse for Protoss.
That's so true, actually. All these buildings up here are going to make everything kind of hard to micro through as well. Look at this, the Marines putting on the pressure. Oh my God, the disruptor shot. Oh, that was huge. What a big disruptor shot there.
We have an incredible disruptor shot, and these bunkers are going to be vacant buildings, essentially.
Really? May as well build supply depots. But getting in on top of these siege tanks now, definitely taking a lot of probe damage, though. Seems like Liv is getting that damage done.
Yeah, beautifully done here by Stealthy. He's going to take this out. The Viking trying to land is also picked off. And as long as he can get in front of this bunker, there's no way Marines can get inside there. It looks like the first bunker is going to go down. But the second, there's actually enough time to maybe fill this in.
Ooh, targeting down that siege tank most quickly there. And now trying to micro against the Marines. All right, it looks like the medevac will get out with most of the Marines there. But overall, at the end of the day, Liv killed a lot of probes there. So that's nice. Kind of has a slight economic advantage here against Stealthy.
Yep, true. I mean, there was some SCVs lost there in that rush as well. That rush definitely not serving the purpose it was intended. So now we're in a little bit of free fall here. There's going to be a lot more intuition that's going to have to be relied upon on both sides as we've basically broken out of a conventional game here. There was some misplays on both sides here. Terran and not executing that rush correctly. I don't know if that was actually a very good modern rush, to be totally honest.
The Terran one?
The Terran one with the bunkers set up. It seems like a Protoss just kites that. Then again, I guess the disruptor shot really did get all the infantry, and maybe we'd have a different story if that had not popped out.
If you had 6 to 8 Marines in those bunkers, that definitely would have been a lot harder to break for Protoss. So definitely the disruptor. Oh, again with a big hit there. This Disruptor tech doing a great job, for sure.
And this is going to be the opportunity now for Protoss to try to come in here and assert themselves. Terran is defending mostly at the front. I think a possible drop into the main here could be detrimental. I got to say, though, I'm kind of liking the way this game's going here for Protoss.
Yeah. I haven't seen the third command center start yet here. But it looks like it's like 5 racks play, so... Right? I see 4 racks. Is there a 5th one? I'm not 100% sure, but that means dedicated attacks from Terran.
Yeah, I mean, this basically, the only thing we want to watch for Terran is burnout here, right? Like, how much damage can this do before you just don't have anything that can deliver you into a late-game situation? You're going heavy mid-game here. Protoss probably playing what we'd say is more proper, more textbook as far as RTS theory goes here. But, you know, with the Warp Prism available and... The fact that I think we might have a pause here.
Yeah. Well,
never mind. We're back.
Luckily, we do have resume from replay in StarCraft 2, so even if something were to go wrong, we'd be all right. But yeah, here comes this gigantic push.
Okay, so this push has to work for for Terran, excuse me, or it's going to be a disaster. Now, he's disabled the Colossus here. In fact, the Colossus sort of oddly right-clicked out there.
Oh my god, that was such a magnificent Disruptor hit once again. Another disable goes down on that Colossus. The Colossus walking a bit too far forward, but there's a lot of Stalkers here. I think that Stealthy's just going to hold.
You know, Stealthy should be totally fine here in this game. Terran executed that attack very poorly, to be totally honest. I mean, the SCVs were in the back of the fight. I mean, if you bring them, you have to use them. That's the thing that's going to allow you to go into a good position in the late game, or into that attack, excuse me. But beautifully done by Protoss. Terran attempting to go in for a big attack there and close the game out did not work, and so there's no way for Terran to stretch that game out into a healthy late game.
You know, I think that Terran overall played pretty well with the strategy that he was using, but if... You know, the Disruptors really were kind of the story of that game for me, where we saw 3 or 4 really big Disruptor hits that just destroyed the Terran army. Just nailing Marines, huge chunks of Marines, the siege tanks, everything, and just making it so that the push suddenly went from, you know, an 8 out of 10 in power to like a 4 out of 10 in power.
Yeah. Great game to start stuff off. Definitely kind of highlighting within StarCraft the idea of, do I want to try to defend everything and just get into a better spot? And that was the Protoss in this case. Or for the Terran, do I want to try to come in there and start the fireworks? Do I want to try to end this game immediately? The first attack did not work. I think the Disruptor shot, as you were mentioning, obliterating the Marines, beautifully done. And then the follow-up attack, a lot of executional errors there, but I think Protoss would have probably held either way.
Yeah. I think you're basically right because of how much splash damage that there was there already. The disables could not stay on forever. So it seemed like after holding that first push and then, you know, reducing the army count once again from Terran, he was in a pretty good spot, even though he did lose a sizable amount of probes the first push. Right.
And, you know, it's one of those situations where you look at that Forge, it's getting the upgrades, you see... It looked like it probably was not going to be Disruptor tech immediately, but when he saw the push coming out, it sort of organically
They build so
reacts.
Quickly. It's, you know, it's a great way if you're behind in some way to try to come back is getting a Disruptor.
If the rush hadn't happened, he probably would have teched in the Colossus, which is just better against the floppy Marines. I mean, you get a couple Colossi shots, it just wrecks everything. And then, but yeah, that build order, not a counter so much to what Terran was doing, but it has a reaction organically built into it that sort of unpacks itself, which was a Disruptor shot, which took that out. Could have been a different game had the Marines gotten in the bunker and maybe pushed forward a little bit more.
Somewhat straightforward, though, right? Not that complicated of a game. You know, if they play again, then we're going to probably see a little bit of metagaming going on between those two. Hopefully we'll get into that next match relatively soon. But
I don't want to go. I'm ready to just hang out here with you on this stage, man.
I want to say, though, congrats to Stealthy on his first WCG match victory.
Hell yeah.
Right? That's a pretty big deal right there.
So when you were a player, what was your first live tournament? Was it a WCG?
No.
It was not? Okay.
No, it was not. My first live event, I flew to a tournament called the Million Man LAN. You remember
I've
this?
never heard of this. No.
The Million Man Land. It was in Kentucky.
I actually
Louisville,
wasn't expecting
Kentucky,
this. Yeah,
in 2002.
In Louisville, Kentucky.
Yeah, and almost every top American was there. It was Weir and Reckrell and myself, Duty,
Really?
Assem, Jester, Sindred.
Oh my God,
McNasty,
Jester and Sindred. Yeah.
Son of Tomorrow. It was like just about the whole country showed up because it was it had been, we were getting to like the boiling point in America where there were so many good American players.
Yeah.
And everyone's just waiting for a tournament. Like, come on, everyone's getting real good. The American scene was super strong, and so that was my first event right there.
And were you nervous? Were you? I mean, what was it like for you? Because this was it was so not a thing then. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I was excited mostly. It was, I had been practicing a whole lot. I knew I was one of the best players. I felt like this was a tournament I could potentially win. I did not end up winning it.
Right.
I made the money. I forget exactly what my placement was, but I was mostly excited, and I definitely did not play my best tournament because when you start tournaments, it's almost impossible to do.
It's weird playing live.
Yeah.
If you're playing from home for so long.
Yeah.
My first tournament experience was in LA. It was for WCG qualifier. Mm-hmm. No, actually, it was just the WCG finals, I guess. You just sort of flew in there and.
Oh, that's right. In
2001.
In 2001, right? Or.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, 2001.
Or 2001
it was an open finals. Basically,
right.
The WCG qualifier, anyone could go to it. It was in California.
You could rent out they rented out a Korean PC cafe.
Yeah.
And just sort of people would show up.
Yeah. I remember because there was a ladder leading up to it that did give a couple plane tickets. And I was actually inactive at that time.
You were not at that one. I remember being down there.
I just, each year, generally early on, you would go inactive for a few months because, school or work or whatever. But I remember when I came back, I think Assem had won one of the paid spots or something. And
I don't think he was at. Yeah, he wasn't at this one that I was at.
Okay, but
yeah.
I just remember talking to everyone. I was like, there's this tournament stuff, but I didn't really have the money or the time to go to that one.
We were all broke back. We were all kids back then, to be honest.
I believe,
I remember going down there, and I remember my mom wouldn't let us go unless she could go with us because, I'm 15.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She's not going to let me just go on my own. And I had that moment where you're a kid, so you're worried about stuff you probably shouldn't be worried about. I was embarrassed that I had a mom.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
And it was all these players were down there, and I was so overwhelmed. I lost to a bunker rush. My first game, I was Zerg.
With Protoss. Oh,
no,
okay.
Zerg. No.
Yeah, you were still playing random at the time.
I played random at the time before I took the game seriously enough to be okay, I have to pick something and actually learn it. And I lost to a bunker rush, and I was so overwhelmed by the whole experience of okay, I really like this game. I really care about getting better at this game. Mm-hmm. But it's too much stimuli around you, you know?
Yeah.
And it was crazy, man. It was really cool to meet all the different big players out there, and especially when you're a young person. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And you kind of look up to older people. Being I remember Sindred talking to me.
Yeah.
He was a big player.
Sindred was big back then. He was a big deal back then.
And he was cool to me.
Yeah. No, he was a cool guy.
Yeah, and I was oh, wow, that was really – he was nice to me. That was very cool. Coincidentally, when StarCraft 2 came up, the beta came out, excuse me, I remember getting in the game and Sindred was there. And I said, Sindred, it's tasteless. I said, I'm all grown up now.
I love it.
Yeah. No, it's so cool to have this tournament back, and I hope the WCG never goes away.
Oh, God,
because for me, this is sort of where it all started.
That little break of all these years. I didn't realize how much I missed it until here we are again. You kind of get that same vibe of the international feel and everything. It's really, it's so different. What was your first? The first time you went to the World Finals was 2005, right? Am I right on that? Because you were casting that one.
If you guys want, actually, there's a documentary of us as kids, you, me, and Day 9.
Yeah, that's true.
At the WCG. And
in 2005.
That was the one where my brother beat me, and then my brother beat you.
Yeah.
And then
he is such a jerk.
Such a douchebag, my brother. Just ruining it for everybody. And then I ended up getting this casting opportunity to go on stage, casting my brother, win the entire tournament. And It was a weird moment. It's actually captured in this documentary. Just type in like WCG, StarCraft, like 2005 or something like that. You'll find it. Where I say, and it's on camera, I go, I wonder if I could also cast the World Finals.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm going to go ask them that right now.
Yeah.
You actually see me go do it.
It's a crazy thing.
Yeah, and it's so weird because here we are.
There's a lot of quotes like that in there. Like there's one where they're filming me, and I'm just like, because it was actually a film crew that was following me because the previous year I had made it to the World Finals, and I got a sponsor this year, and he hooked up this guy to film me because I was doing really well in practice. So it was like, oh, he's going to make it again, and of course Dana knocked me out, so I didn't. But it's like there's this thing of me where I'm like, I'll probably just play StarCraft till I'm 50, you know?
Yeah.
36, we're still going.
Yeah, it's so cool. No, there's something very naked and honest in that documentary about all three of us.
Yeah,
I was super young. I had my blue hair. You can see me kind of fidgeting. I'm like very fidgety on camera.
I have a bit of a Boston accent in that video. A little bit.
I'm surprised you're here speaking English to me right now, since you had such a strong dialect. It's so crazy how much we've all changed.
Yeah.
It's so cool. I got that opportunity to go to Singapore, which is where the World Finals was held at. And it was this weird moment. I was there. Kim Fan, who ended up running Blizzard Esports for a long time at Blizzard, was there. Mm-hmm. She was a Warcraft 3 caster. DJ Wheat, who now works at Twitch, was there. Red Eye, who should need no introduction. He's hosted almost every, from StarCraft to Counter-Strike to Dota. He's done everything. I was with all these people. Obviously, must have been maybe 15 years ago.
Was Carmack at that 13? One too?
Carmack was at the next one. I was at in Italy.
Yeah, okay.
He was still at Troll
it's
then.
Like almost all the old school guys.
Yeah, and we were all there. But I remember I was in this, like, if you can imagine this convention hall being set up, right?
Yeah.
And I'm looking around, and it just dawned on me. I thought, these people are paid to do this. These people are setting this up. I was a volunteer at the time, but I thought, wait a minute. There's too many people doing this. This might sound silly, but at the time in my head, I'm like, it was like something clicked. I went, wait a minute. This is a job. What if I can keep doing this? I was in college at the time. Was I in college? Yeah, I was in college at the time.
Moving boxes or something, furniture, couches.
I moved furniture, which is absolutely horrible. But I thought, wait a minute. What if I can make money doing this? Mm-hmm. What if I can keep doing this? And then I ended up getting gig after gig, and I was dropping out of – I was missing tests. I was missing important stuff in school. But I thought, no, there's something here.
Yeah.
And now here we are.
You were the original one pulling this con off, no doubt.
I'm keeping this con going for as long as I can.
A long time.
Until the police come and say, wait a minute, this isn't for real. We got to take you away.
This is now 14 years later. Yeah. At WCG once again. It's a crazy thing.
So cool. Now, when you were younger,
did
you – I know that you were always going to be playing StarCraft. That was clear in that WCG documentary back in the day. But did you know you're going to make money doing it? Or is this a happy accident?
Yeah, no, I played a lot from pretty early on. Like the first year I didn't play much. I played some BGH and stuff. Yeah. And got a little bit more competitive. And then I like to play tournaments, and I did play tournaments.
Yeah.
But I didn't I would start practicing a lot for the tournament, but it wasn't that professional in like 2002 or 2003. I was just like, it's like a week before or 2 weeks before I'm going to start practicing a bunch, right, on these maps and just kind of figure them out. And I had good results. I was one of the top Americans and stuff. But like in 2004, I decided that I just had to do it. Like, no matter what. And my goal was to move to Korea and be a pro gamer. So, I assumed I was going to make money off of it.
Really?
Off of playing, yes, because that was my goal.
So, I had this whole weird thing where I kind of came to peace. I thought, no, I won't make money off of this.
Oh.
But it was some sort of weird exercise of the mind. And then when I went to that Singapore thing, I thought, wait a minute.
Yeah.
So cool. So, we're going to hop back into this game.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that other stuff later. But very fun reminiscing with you, Tasteless. Let's take a look at who we have here. That's Liv, the player that we just saw, the Terran player in the previous 1v1. And Liv's teammate is Maru in that bottom position as well. They're both playing Terran. And then we have versus double Protoss in Neeb and Stealthy at the top right of the map.
2v2 has always been a fascinating thing with StarCraft because the number of variables. that can come together.
Yeah.
You have these different unit compositions, units that when the game was being designed, you're not really intending for them to interact with each other in combo, right? So it's going to be cool to see what kind of tech we're going to have here.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. Neeb actually was really preparing this for this, rather. So, yeah, let me restart that. I'm like losing my mind right now. But basically, we were over talking to Neeb and Raynor a little bit, and because this does lead into seeding, Neeb is taking it really seriously. He was playing 2 versus 2s on the Chinese slider yesterday with his teammate. They have some real strategies prepared. I was like, are you playing Protoss? He's like, yeah. I'm like, you're both Protoss? What do you do? Just make a Depths? He's like, oh, we have strats prepared. We were practicing yesterday.
Yeah,
like, I want to win this. So he's definitely taking it seriously. There's no question there.
Yeah, both those guys, definitely getting ready. It's cool to get the chance to talk to them down here. This is actually another thing about WCG that sort of changes the environment here. A lot of times players are more, I guess you could say, quarantined.
Or casters are quarantined is another way to look at it, too.
Actually, that's actually an excellent point.
But, yeah, we're
here, we're sort
right
of in
there.
the thick of it,
Yeah.
So, yeah, just behind us, I'm turning around now in my chair. I can see the players actually there playing.
Oh, no, it's super cool. I see Neeb right now. And, yeah, I see where Raynor's sitting, but obviously he's not in this game. Not sure where Maru's at the moment, but regardless, very cool stuff. Now, what is the strategy going to be? Oh, let me go over a couple things about StarCraft 2 versus 2, because I know it's not as big, and the people that watch us and follow mostly StarCraft 2 1 versus 1. But, okay, so you can share resources in StarCraft 2 versus 2, and you can share unit control. So, for instance, all the resources could be given, or you can speed up timings by giving resources to each other.
Right.
Also, anyone can micro all the units. So, like, for instance, maybe Neeb wants to micro Blink Stalkers, right? Which we see Stealthy's going Blink right now. And he can go do that while Stealthy runs the economy at home or something like that. So there's a lot of different ways that you can actually approach playing a 2 versus 2 like this. And look at this. They're actually both getting Blink.
Yeah, and I think this is a pretty cool technique here. They're going to rely on micro. One thing about StarCraft is traditionally we think about the game as acquiring bases and teching up to greater units while balancing enough small units to kind of hold stuff off.
Yeah.
But in 2v2, due to the abundance of units on both sides, it's a lot more about kind of the low-tier or mid-tier units and attacking in, because anybody who gets too greedy is just simply annihilated.
Yeah. I kind of like the idea because of that, right? Blink Stalkers are going to be as mobile as you can possibly get, so if you both are just massing Blink Stalkers, it's going to be easy for both of you to micro in a situation like that, or one person to micro everything, and you can just run around and find a weak point. So it's kind of a cool idea, and actually the more I'm looking at this, right, because the 2 versus 2s I've seen in StarCraft 2 are few and far between, but a lot of times it's, like a Zerg and a Terran versus Zerg and a Protoss or something like that. I kind of like this idea of, it's like, okay, both of them are making defensive siege tanks and both of them are making Blink. Okay, let's see how this works with more stuff than a 1 versus 1, right?
Yeah. I like the pylons here in the middle of the map. So we're on 2 bases. The odds of a 3rd base being taken, if it was kept, would probably be an indicator of a win here. It's hard to get more than 2 bases in 2v2. It does happen, but
yeah, I guess that would be
specifically on the configuration of this map.
Quickly, right?
Yeah. So with the Blink being upgraded immediately, I think we're going to see these guys activate right away, and we see all this being telegraphed by the gateway coming in here to speed up the rush on the map. So here we go. Tanks are in siege mode, but the Marines are not quite in the front.
All right, a lot more Stalkers here for Stealthy, and it looks like they have knocked down the first siege tank. More tanks coming over. Maru's doing his best to hold on here. Definitely taking a bit of damage, though.
So far, so good here. It appears that Blink attack could have been done maybe a little bit more cleanly. Keep in mind that Stim, something that might be ignored here, is Stim is being upgraded just at this tech lab, and if you can actually eliminate that, that's going to be huge. We have more Marines and tanks coming in here, and I think when these red siege tanks from Liv siege up,
Yeah.
That should be the end of this rush.
Look at how many stalkers they're actually making. It's so funny. And now they actually don't have vision of the high ground, so definitely a little bit of a mistake right there. A sentry came up. Maybe a hallucination will be ready soon. But it might be time to attack somewhere else. There's a lot of siege tanks and marines over here.
Looks like we have Stealthy coming in here on the front, sniping down a few of Liv's tanks. I feel like this is, correct me if I'm wrong, Artosis, this is just not going to happen, right? I mean, these stalkers can't get up in here.
I keep seeing them warping more stalkers because I keep thinking it's not going to work, and then I see more stalkers being made, and I'm like, you know what? Do stalkers eventually beat everything in 2 vs. 2? I don't know. We're going to find out, though.
Okay, the stalkers are going to come forward here. Now, a lot of the squishier stalkers are in the front. And I feel like one problem that we're seeing here is sort of the lack of coordination here with the two Protosses. If you notice, one player's kind of blinking in, the other one's blinking out.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, if I'm Terran, all I want to do is stay back and absorb the attacks, right? I mean, basically, the Protoss is doing all the heavy lifting for you by running into your defense. And all you have to do is keep, to be blunt, just keep making stuff, and you're going to be in good shape.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting here to see Liv is going for mech play, just kind of making siege tanks nonstop, whereas Maru's focusing more on bio. That seems like a very much more balanced unit composition than just stalkers, right?
I would say so.
Yeah, it seems that way.
I would say it's just my opinion, but yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah. Pretty decent harass here, though. I mean, definitely getting a lot of SCVs.
There's not a lot of places these stalkers can go, though. I feel like they're getting painted into a corner here. So not bad taking out these workers. One of the problems with harass in 2v2, it's not always the case, but it's something kind of worth remarking on, is that when you have harass play and you're killing workers, if you're losing some of your army, you could still end up losing the game.
Yeah.
In a 1v1, if you're killing workers, mathematically the trajectory sort of pans out where you can outpace them. But in a 2v2, a lot of times, if you're trading your units for their workers, there's a window of time where they're in a 2v2, the counter push will just kill you.
Yeah, it's harder to fudge the math, I think, because they have like 2 armies. So
right, yeah. The damage output's just so great.
Yeah, DPS from Terran in StarCraft 2 is pretty high. So
in RTS 2, double anything is so pronounced. It's hard to, you can't overemphasize enough how much better it is. So finesse becomes almost non-existent and we're seeing
this
here now.
Army.
I mean, they're trying to sandbag this, but I just don't know if with Stim and this frankly comical number of siege tanks out here.
It is a comical number of siege
How are
tanks.
you really going to take that out? I just don't know.
Force fields forever, maybe? I don't know. Oh my God, Neeb is coming around now. He does have a lot of charge lots. Let's see what can get done here. That is just so many siege tanks, though. Look at how many siege tanks that is.
Yeah, this is going to become a problem pretty quickly here. The thing is, what Terran has, as long as the tanks are sieged up and protected, it's immutable. Like, whatever you're going to try to do. Now, there's a pretty good counterattack here, though, by Neeb. The harass is pretty sick. I just don't know if this Terran blob is going to be able to take this on here.
Yeah, it is just so much. Wow, Psystorm comes down. Psystorm plus Colossus this early is pretty helpful, no doubt about it. The Colossus being microed reasonably well, but again, the amount of siege tanks for this early in the game is so funny.
Yeah.
It's just like, because siege tanks actually scale ridiculously when you get a huge amount, and you can kind of see that here. They are obliterating.
Okay, again, the threat is the blue Protoss being squashed here. Now, I got to say, they're doing a good job sandbagging this push. This is actually pretty impressive. Now, as the push continues to come forward here, we're getting to the mouth of Stealthy's base, basically. This is where infrastructure is going to be destroyed. We have 4 unpowered gateways, and I don't see this ending anytime soon here.
Well, yeah, I mean, Maru is getting in here and getting some serious damage done to Stealthy's base. In the meantime, Neeb trying to stop these Hellions from coming in and destroying everything, but instead attacking his own Templar archives.
What am I seeing here?
A lot's going on in this game. No doubt about that.
And so this push continues forward here, and I believe we're seeing the beginning of the end here.
Yeah, there's some damage being done over at Maru's base, too. It looks like he doesn't have anything left mining. We're not really checking that out at the moment, but definitely Neeb is doing something on the other side of the map. I see almost 0 workers on the other side. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Combined, they have 24 workers on the other side of the map.
Workers are not as important at times as just base army.
Neeb has more more workers than the rest of the players put together in this game.
Yeah. The thing is, I can't imagine Neeb 2-on-1ing these two guys. Maru alone is a big enough of a threat. Maru alone is one of the most competent StarCraft players of all time.
Funny? If you put their supplies together, Neeb has more supplies than them.
Yeah.
Neeb has more than everyone in this game put together right now. But that's a lot of siege takes.
Yeah. So we have basically Stealthy decimated here. And even though I got to say Neeb's harass here, specifically on Maru, is pretty stellar, I just don't see this mathing out.
What if he, notice how he's playing refugee toss right now. He's just expanding across the entire map. What if he can slow this down and eventually whittle down this army? Is there any chance at that point? Like if he can kill this army? Or is there just too much being made on the other side?
I don't know. I mean, maybe if they hadn't gotten to Neeb so quickly.
Yeah.
I think if Neeb had been able to have some time to be left alone. The problem with 2v2, and I mean, you can remember this all the way back at StarCraft 1. If you have one player left and there's two, and you're against two, even if one of those two players only has one probe or SCV or drone, that it causes so much more chaos. That it is still a 2v2 and not a 1v1.
It's still very, very difficult. Like, you have to have a gigantic advantage when your teammate dies to be able to win a situation like that. I've seen it happen occasionally in StarCraft 1, but in this situation, like, just watching these Colossus try to whittle down these tanks, it's so difficult.
Okay, we're about to have the cybernetics core eliminated here as well. That's going to pick up and stifle the tank even further here. And the problem really is that Neeb is having to use all the money he has to continue to rebuild. He can't really invest in attacks anymore. So it's hugely problematic for him.
Seems like he's going to try to hold this area. It does have a few gateways here, so it is kind of important. And you know what? He might be able to take out those siege tanks now because he does have this Immortal mixed in as well. So that's going to take a huge amount of damage. Some great juggling from Neeb. And yeah, he's going to remove these siege tanks, but at a gigantic cost to his remaining army.
Okay, so what does Neeb have going for him? Now, Maru is barely economically alive in this game. Liv is hurting. Yeah, Liv is just a placeholder here.
Look at Stealthy, the hero over here. The Psy Storms, the Blink Stalker harassment.
They got no medevac here, so every shot on those Marines can't heal them.
This is serious.
This has actually become a great 2v2.
Yeah, it really is.
So hold on, I'm trying to collect everything.
Yeah,
that we see here, right? There's a lot of moving parts in this game. So Protoss is not mining. I think actually nobody's mining.
Neeb is just making a bunch of nexuses, trying to get mining going. Still has more supply than everyone else put together. But what's microable, right? That's actually a really important part of this. Maru flying around with those medevacs is hard for Neeb to take care of. It's like he almost gets rid of all these siege tanks. Gonna let that one live for now. This is so funny. The amount of money they have is so little. Look at this. There's like 40 minerals for Stealthy.
Actually, this is the best 2v2 I've ever casted. What I thought was going to be Neeb's inevitable death is actually, this has become an insane game. Okay, hold on a second. 38 supply, 10 supply for Liv, 60 for Neeb. I wish we had the unit tab open here because this would be a lot easier to kind of math out what the variables are, but we have production instead.
Look at that. Oh my God! These
Sentries
2 sentries
versus Hellions. I've
no
seen everything
problem.
now.
No. A little bit faster than expected.
I actually think Neeb wins this game. I might be wrong. I think Neeb's actually won.
Do you think so? Hold on,
dude.
I actually think Maru is going to still end up doing it.
This is such a good 2v2. This is why we need to have more 2v2s, by the way, in RTS.
Well, this game in particular has been very cool and very interesting. I almost feel like the reason why I'm really enjoying this is because it's Terran versus Protoss, and there's not just like, someone doesn't just suddenly fly in with mutas and it's like, oh, there you go.
Yeah. If he loses that medevac, okay, I actually think Neeb's got the closer here.
But hold on. Maru has some mining going on. He has some units. He is producing something here. See? That's pretty reasonable army.
Stealthy is basically... No, he's non-existent. He has 0 supply. So besides floating structures...
0 minerals, 0 gas.
Yeah, he has nothing. Unless he should actually lift his buildings off and float them into attacks, to be honest.
This is a pretty strong attack from Neeb. Good micro there by Maru, though, picking off that Colossus. Huh.
Okay, hold on. All right,
oh,
so
my
wait,
God.
How many workers here? Liv's at 11. Maru's at
23. Neeb's at 21.
He's mining from a forwarded position, which puts him in a little bit more jeopardy if Neeb can actually get there. Neeb is outposted.
Yeah, Neeb has lost a lot of stuff. He is just attacking with a tiny army right now.
Yeah.
But it's actually quite a strong army, right? An Immortal and 3 Blink Stalkers. You got to be serious taking care of that right now. But I think Maru has enough. I think he's going to come in and swamp him now. Yeah, I can't imagine him living through this. All right, it gets out of there with his Stalkers, tries the recall.
Now, Neeb's also attacking at the forwarded position.
Oh, gosh,
which
you're
is
right.
the only economy point
Oh, my
here.
God, yeah.
So, actually, I think that the technique worked here. Now, the tanks are sieging, so Protoss had to make a hard decision. Opts to not engage.
Yeah.
By the way, in these moments, stimmed infantry are the biggest threat in low econ 2v2, as far as I understand it.
Well, he's going to charge forward and get on top of these siege tanks. Oh, my God, he's going to get all the tanks
here.
Okay,
now this actually might be the moment that Neeb pulls this caper off.
Yeah.
I cannot believe how good this game is.
Yeah, really a fantastic one. But Maru with that counter drop.
Keep in mind,
this could turn into a draw.
Yeah,
For real, this could turn into a draw.
Keep in mind the losing conditions are that all your buildings are destroyed. I'm actually turning around in my chair here and looking at the players, and this is intense.
Yeah, so now we're at a position where either it's a draw or Maru's team wins. Because Maru can lift up a building and send it over something. There's not enough money. There's no anti-air units, and there is no money to make a Nexus, right? So now the last time Maru was in a situation like this against Scarlet where he could have gotten a draw, he didn't. He didn't even realize because he never thinks about that and just ended up losing.
Okay, did Maru actually just get away with this?
I think so.
Again, infantry, medevacs with heal, you can just eke out a little bit more damage.
Yeah.
Much better than the shields that Protoss have. The Warp Prism is really the ace in the. Oh, hold on, GG.
All right, that was a sick game right there. What a comeback! Oh my God,
I had to sit down.
That was
fast.
an amazing
I was standing
game
up during that cast.
Yeah.
Really, beautifully done there. Neeb is so good. Can we just take a moment to point out that Neeb was 2-on-1ing 2 Terrans and 1 was Maru?
Yeah.
How insane is that?
It was a wild game. That was really fun. The initial Blink Stalker, I think, didn't do as much as they wanted.
No, well, the Blink Stalker opening was sort of it was like the butterfly effect of what gave us that interesting game.
Yeah.
To be frank, the worst part of that 2v2 was the Blink Stalker attack. It was not executed well, but it allowed for a very unique situation where Terran could counter push. And so whenever you have a 2v2, StarCraft 1, StarCraft 2, when one player is being pushed, organically the player who's not being attacked starts to outgrow both the players.
Yeah.
And then you get in that 2v1 situation. And it's rare to see that one player beat 2 people.
Yeah.
But it does happen, and it almost happened back there.
Yeah, a lot of times what happens is there's a slight army advantage and a tech advantage, so then you can kind of make that work out. Yeah. But yeah, definitely a rare thing. Very, very exciting, though. That was certainly the best 2 vs. 2 game I've seen in StarCraft 2. But I don't watch a lot of StarCraft 2, and I definitely don't play any.
StarCraft 2v2.
2 vs. 2.
Yeah.
You
watch enough StarCraft 2.
Hell of a lot of StarCraft 2.
You've been there for most of the big matches. But,
But yeah, what I'm trying to say is that I'm very impressed and surprised by just how entertaining that was. And forgive me if there's a lot of 2 vs. 2 games that are that good, because I haven't watched as many. But that was fantastic.
Funny because when that game started, I was kind of like, all right, guys, this is sort of how 2v2 looks. And then as it was beginning to unfold, I'm like, oh my God, this game's actually getting really sick. This is so cool.
Yeah.
Excellent game there by everybody.
Yeah.
Even Stealthy hanging on that long is what allows Neeb. The thing is, when you're in a 2v2 situation like that, when you're the guy getting attacked, you have to do everything in your power to just slow them down.
Yeah.
Even if you die. And this is something that can be lost on people. It gets lost in team games in general. You see it with Counter-Strike or MOBAs. People watch kill counts.
Yeah.
Or people, this guy's got all the kills. Well, he was guarding the position where everybody's attacking. the guy that has no kills is still playing his role, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Stealthy back there is doing everything to hold on so that Neeb can get that big, so that Neeb can almost come back and win that game.
Yeah. It was well done. And you know what? Stealthy did win his 1-versus-1, right? So I believe that the way that this works is the teams are tied up 1-1. And I think we finish this with a 1-versus-1 at the end.
I'll take that.
I'm pretty sure.
Let's go back down memory lane.
Let's do it. Where were we?
I was talking about going to Singapore and kind of being like, oh, my God, this could be a job. And then I was asking you, did you think you were going to make money doing this line of work, or did you think it was more like an artistic approach?
My goal was, like I mentioned, to be a pro gamer. That was it.
Right.
That was my intention in life and what I was working towards. So, yeah, I assumed I would have some sort of salary eventually on a professional team in Korea. I'm the type of very stubborn person that never gives up, so I kind of just have confidence that I can achieve whatever I set my mind to.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess I never really got on a Korean pro team, but that's okay. My life took a different path, and I'm quite happy, so it's all right.
I mean, well, you were staying in the Istro house when you came out to Korea.
That is true. I was, yeah.
And you were maybe a 10-minute walk from my apartment.
Yeah, it wasn't very far.
And I was trying to do this broadcasting thing.
Yeah.
And then eventually we did a couple casts together.
Yes.
Sort of like some in Korea and some.
We did some online stuff. And
it was mostly for food. Like we were trying to basically have enough money to eat.
Yeah.
And at that time, English casting was not really a thing.
No.
And
you had to convince people that
we were basically getting a bunch of production companies drunk and being like, you need to put us on TV. I promise you we're going to get viewers.
Yeah.
It was a lot of time.
There was no Twitch or anything.
Yeah, trying to coerce people. Like, listen, I swear to God there's an audience for this.
Yeah.
And now we're here. It's 2019. We moved to – what year did you move to Korea? It was 2008. A few months apart, 2008. Yeah, so that was 2008. Because I know I went right there at the start of 2008, yeah.
Yeah, and I was there
and so
2008 in the summer, yeah.
So 11 years later, it's 2019. There are 80 esports casters down here.
It's grown quite a bit.
8-0.
80.
And that's not all of them in the world.
No. It feels like it is right now.
It's a percentage. We've been getting to meet people from every type of game. Mm-hmm. Veterans, guys that this is maybe their first or second casting gig. But the undertaking that WCG has had is huge. Yeah.
It's a serious revival. It's not just like, oh, we have this brand, let's use it. It's like, let's use it. You know?
Yeah.
That's what it's like here.
Mean.
Yeah, no, this is serious face stuff going on here, man. There's like a lot of people here. This is a big budget cool event.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I always enjoy the
so
international feel where it's you know, the thing is we live in Korea and it's very cool. We cast mostly Korean players and then
very
sometimes
homogenous
non-Korean,
country.
But, yeah, I always enjoyed WCG for having you know, like players from all over the place, even if like they aren't expected to win. To just be able to hang out these players. Some of my best friends at some of the world championships that I got to play at in StarCraft 1 for WCG, they were from countries that you don't ever think of with RTS. Like one of my best friends back in the day was from Turkey. I got to hang out with this Turkish guy and have a great time.
Wait, which player was that?
Sugosu.
Sugosu. He was so cool, too.
I loved Sugosu, man. He was so much fun. Kier from Chile, he was one of my closest buds back then. And
no, there's something magical about, because that was my first real global experience. It was just sort of, it wasn't like the WCG USA, but it was at the Singapore event, and then more so in Italy, the one that you were representing the United States.
Yeah.
Just kind of going around and talking to everybody, and you know, this is going to sound so cliche and corny, but just realizing that, you know, these are all just people. Yeah. You know, everybody, we all speak different languages. There's different cultures and, you know, attitudes and politics. But when we're playing the game, we're all kind of, it's the same game.
Yeah.
You know, and going out and hanging out with the players, even if we couldn't communicate in the same language, kind of, you know.
But you could communicate. I've never met a StarCraft player I could not communicate with, right? Because the common language of the game is there. Right?
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
We're going to go into Game 3. Artos.
Yeah. So now it's going to be Maru versus Neeb for the decider match. Very cool that we get to see this.
Maru's representing APAC.
Yeah, the Asia Pacific region.
Yeah.
That's true.
And Neeb representing America.
And just to make this clear for people, right? This is the team portion where it's fans and pro gamers, and then the main event will start tomorrow, and that's going to be 4 players that have been invited. Obviously, Neeb and Maru, as you see here, and then Rainer, the current WCS champion, and Xi'an, one of the strongest players from China for quite some time now. So definitely going to be a fun event.
Yeah, excellent player. Maru versus Neeb, hell yeah, man. Sign
These
me
two
up.
actually have fantastic matches against each other. Every time that they play, they put out just a humdinger of a series.
A humdinger indeed.
A humdinger, Tasteless.
I think it's the first time I've heard you say humdinger in the decade of casting with you. I've never.
I have to keep surprising you and keep it fresh, or you're going to leave me for younger casters. So. We can't. If we get bored of each other, that's going to be the end, Tasteless.
That's it.
That's when all these WCG
we gotta keep
dreams
it exciting,
go away.
Right? We got to start role play casting, or it's not going to be the same. No, I think Neeb has a real shot against Maru here. I haven't been able to cast Neeb personally in a little while here, but Neeb is one of my favorite players to cast. Maru, obviously, if you watch GSL, we've casted this guy quite a bit, but Neeb is somebody who can kind of basically beat anybody if he's got the right game. Even if things go south in his games, he usually can pull through.
Yeah, no, Neeb is he's like a player that when he's in shape, I think is absolutely one of the very best players in the world, and it's hard to tell exactly when he's in shape.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, no, he's. I don't know how to describe it other than that. Like Neeb has StarCraft like in his bones.
Yeah,
does that make sense? He's not somebody that I've always found has to be entirely up to date with everything. He sort of is one of these players that's kind of dictating how the game's understood. He sort of gets it. I've always been a player I felt like I didn't always get it. I had to kind of look ahead to somebody else and imitate their stuff to figure it out. I feel like Neeb is one of those players where if I was somebody who was like a young pro gamer, like still a student of the game, if you will, I would need to be following whatever Neeb is sort of.
It's a very good way to put it.
In the lab with.
Yeah, he is a player who thinks for himself. He's a leader within the game rather than a follower. And to be a champion, you have to be. And this guy, I mean, there's a lot of talk and hubbub about Cyril and whatnot and the European scene, but Neeb is a super champion as well. This guy has won so many tournaments. He was the first one to truly beat the Koreans in a Korean tournament once again, right? So he's legit. He's legit.
So, in this game, we've got Oracles coming out here. The Cyclone for the initial defense is popping out as well. So we want to see what exactly this Oracle is going to do as far as damage goes. Yeah,
it was scouted and everything, so you don't really expect that much here. Okay, so gets the lock-in on that, which is going to buy him a bit of... Neeb actually messed up on the micro slightly there. He didn't pull back quite quickly enough. You wanted to break that immediately, but that lock-on. But yeah, not that much damage done by Neeb thus far.
So Neeb's Oracle's about to be inbound here. Behind this, Neeb's going to go ahead and expand. He's getting his Forge. He's getting his Twilight Council. And looks like we're sizing up for a pretty steady PVT here. Nobody doing anything too dramatic.
Yeah, you're going to go ahead and chase down this Reaper. Does get that killed off. Couple Oracles out, so those still can be very useful for scouting, light harassment, maybe some stasis wards thrown down. In the meantime, Neeb expanding here on Thunderbird. Obviously, this map is kind of our most macro-esque map. We get a lot of long games here. This one in King's Cove.
Okay, Oracles poke in. Ooh. Good targeting here. Almost gets both, actually.
Yeah.
Big shutdown there for Neeb. You know, one thing about when you go for the Oracle play, you really need to see, okay, how much damage do the Oracles do, and are they going to stay alive? And in this case, taking that out, because the Oracles can tag, they can harass and kill workers, they can also assist in fights. So they're sort of, in this type of matchup, the most significant unit.
Yeah, definitely a very important one to watch, the utility of. Now, a lot of gates coming up. charge and +1 attack on the way, and the Robo coming as well here for Neeb, so he's really going to be able to mass up quite a significant army. Kind of interesting to see the double Oracle into the charge upgrade, right? A lot of times you'll see it into like Blink, for instance, so you can stop drop harassment.
Right.
Now, what Neeb is doing is much stronger on the ground because he's going to have charge so quickly. So if Maru does any quick pushes, there's real potential there for Neeb to just smash it down. But if Maru starts doing, a little bit of harassment around, you don't really have Blink to deal with that right away.
So, I am getting ready for a pretty sick late game, Artosis.
Yeah, especially with Maru going into mech tasteless.
Yeah. With that very, very passive stuff. Generally, mech cannot activate itself as quickly as, a bio can, for instance. So, we want to wait and see. Protoss is probably not going to really attack in here so much as try to assert himself on the map.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's see what he does, because he has this quick charge, so there might actually be a small timing here where he can get some damage done. Right? He has his Prism. He has a decent amount of Zealots. He has +1. Yeah, look at this. He's going to go ahead and get for some Archons even.
You're right, Artosis. Yeah, he's absolutely going to attack in here.
He's going for it. And, there might be a weak timing in here where Maru has a hard time. I'm not sure. Let's see.
Okay, here we go. He's attacking in. Now, the Wallen is up, and we have an unload actually on top of the depots here. So we have sort of a scattered amount of damage here, but it might be enough. I mean, all 3 tanks are going to be taken out. He's disjointed the Terran. He's going to try to push in here.
Yeah,
maybe Neeb is actually just going to dunk on Maru here. I mean, I don't see very much for Terran. I think if he can win this fight against the Cyclones, which really only have SCVs to repair, and their ability to kite, I think Neeb might actually take this game.
Yeah, it really does look like it right now. Neeb playing a fantastic bust move here. Looks like he's going to have to pick up that Archon, though, and get out of there with that Warp Prism while he continues to do massive damage to Maru.
Big warp in here.
Yeah, what an aggressive build here against the mech of Maru. Maru normally doesn't get broken early.
And I totally stand corrected. I think part of this was, to be frank, a little bit of bias here about casting Maru's games. I'm just not used to seeing him get taken down like that.
Yeah. Well, that was something special from Neeb.
That was
what
really
that
impressive.
Was.
Yeah.
That was a timing that we don't really normally see, like to go 2 Oracles into charge quickly.
Yeah.
Again, if they're doing something like bioplay and they're harassing you, you don't have Phoenixes, you don't have Blink for your Stalkers, you can't really punish anything that they do. But the fact that Maru was going directly into mech did open up this window of opportunity for Neeb with his quick charge upgrade to get in there before Maru hits a critical mass where you can't just kill him.
Right. It was a very good balancing act there by Neeb. It's not just that mech can't kill early on, it also is not always safe as well, right? I mean, mech units take a long time to produce. It's longer than it is to make barracks units, for instance, which you can get in abundance. Instead, if 1 or 2 mech units are killed off early on in a fight, that's a good percentage of your entire army. And we saw that when the 3 tanks went down, despite a Wallen, mind you.
Yeah.
Once those 3 tanks were destroyed, it's very easy to then punch a hole into the Terran. And the odds of catching back up, I mean, mech units like siege tanks, for instance, compared to like bio with medevacs, not a lot of sustain there.
Yeah. So very well done by Neeb.
Right.
I think that he probably thought that there was going to be mech there. He gave himself the opportunity to crush it, and he did, which means he goes on to the finals of the team match. Not sure who that's going to be against, Team China or Team Europe, but obviously Team America's fighting.
Greatest
We're
players,
from Americas.
Greatest casters. Great to see Neeb do that well in that game. That was really cool.
Yeah. So, might be a little bit until we get into our next series.
Is it time to go back? Should we get our yearbooks out, our StarCraft yearbooks, and look at all the signatures?
Yes.
And remember the good old days, Artie?
No, we should go to a break, and then we'll be back.
We'll do that instead.